Hello, everyone. Have you ever had this happen? All your systems suddenly start acting weird and you have no idea what to do. Well, that's exactly what today's talk is all about. We're going to take that confusion and turn it into clarity just like that. Are you ready? Let's dive in and pull back the curtain on these system mysteries. Imagine the most critical moment and your system starts slowing down like a snail. We've all been there, right? In that moment, instead of panicking, we're going to give you a solid plan. You'll be in total control. Solving a system issue is actually just like a detective story, and every good detective needs what? A toolkit, of course. In our toolkit, we have two super important tools to help us solve the case: logs and metrics. Our first tool is logs. You can think of logs as a diary. Think about it. If you really want to understand how someone's day went, you'd need to read every line and every word of that diary, right? I had coffee at 9 sao. This happened at 10 sao. That's what logs are. That incredibly detailed moment by moment diary that the system keeps. So, what exactly does this diary tell us? Everything. When a user logged in, which button they clicked, which file was opened, or most importantly, if an error occurred. It gives us the whole story of a specific event down to the finest detail. Now let's look at our second tool, metrics. If logs are a diary, then metrics are a chart showing that person's mood. In other words, they don't give you every detail of the day, but they show you at a glance whether that day went well or poorly. Metrics show us that big picture we so desperately need. They take all that complexity and simplify it. We can see at a glance, how is the overall health of the system? Is there a sudden spike or a crash? Is things going well or are the alarm bells ringing? Look at this table. It summarizes the difference between the two so well. On one side, we have logs, the diary. It tells you a word for word, detailed story. On the other side, we have metrics, that mood chart. It gives you a general summary with numbers and graphs. The essence of it is this: metrics scream at you about what is happening, while logs whisper to you about why it's happening. Okay, we've got the theory. But how do we bring these two tools together in real life to solve a real mystery? Let's walk through a case analysis together. Our scenario is simple. Our system has suddenly slowed down. Let's put on our detective hats and get started. What does a good detective do? First, they take a look at the crime scene from a distance to try and understand the general situation. Our crime scene is our system, and our long distance look is through metrics. Let's check the big picture. Ooh, there it is. We've caught a very important clue right at first glance. We look at our metric panel, and one thing practically jumps out at us. CPU usage is at 99%. That's like a car engine running in the red line. It's definitely not normal. Something is going very wrong here. Okay, great. The metric has told us what the problem is, loud and clear: excessively high CPU usage. But the real question is, why? Why is this engine struggling so much? The answer to that question, unfortunately, isn't in the metrics. This is where our second tool takes the stage. It's time to grab our magnifying glass and get into the details. To understand why the CPU is in this state, we're going to examine the system's diary, those detailed log records. Just a warning, logs can be thousands or even millions of lines long. If we try to read them all, we'll get lost in that sea. Our goal isn't to look for a needle in a haystack. Our goal is to find a recurring error pattern, an anomaly. We start digging into the depths of the logs and, wait a minute, something catches our eye. There's one line that's repeating over and over again. I think we've found our red-handed moment. There it is, bingo. A recurring database connection timed out error. So, what's happening? My poor system is constantly trying to connect to the database. Come on, it says, but it never succeeds. And this endless attempt, this vicious cycle, of course, blows up the CPU and sends it to 99%. We found the root cause of the problem. And there it is. The mystery is solved. Look how clear it is. The metric showed us where the smoke was coming from, high CPU usage, and the log revealed the source of the fire, database errors. Without one, the other would always be incomplete. But when we combine the two, the picture is complete. Congratulations! You've successfully solved your first system mystery. Now, let's summarize what we've learned from this great detective work and give you a practical checklist for future mystery cases. Here is the magic formula, and it's that simple. The next time you face a mystery, remember these 4 steps. Observe. Notice the symptom, e.g., slowness. Check metrics. Understand what is happening. Analyze logs. Find out why it's happening. Connect clues. Combine these 2 pieces of information to reach the solution. Now you can look at your systems not with fear, but with a detective's curiosity. Remember, every line of log and every graph of metric is trying to tell you a story. The important thing is to ask the right questions. So, what story is your data telling you today?